I'm with Mark French down here at the Abingdon Witney College. Mark, you run this centre here. It's highly impressive and it's a great environment for a learner to come and work and understand how the industry ticks. So what do you specifically do here to encourage local SMEs to get involved?
Oh, we're always working, with all the SMEs, anyone that's willing to come and get involved, really. We hold employer events where we can try and introduce new SMEs that haven't worked with us before to come down and sort of see what happens here. We have normal open events that any other college or training provider would have, so there's opportunities there. I think also myself personally, I'm always out and about getting involved, whether it be community employment plans and trying to engage SMEs to get involved in some of those because they're not always. And I think also then you've got things like the CITB and also just engaging with employers who are acquaintances with other employers in the industry or in the community.
Can I ask you, how specifically has Adroit Services supported this establishment?
Well, I think they've done quite a lot, to be fair. First of all, they've shown a lot of trust in us to sort of bring their apprentices to us, moving from another training provider that they used to use. I think they've came in and gave us their opinions on what they need from their apprentice or what they need from them in terms of training, and because not every standard that you deliver is exactly the right thing for that employer. They're very sort of strict. So having that input from an employer like Adroit to say, actually, but this is the kind of work we do. How can we develop that program to make it fit us a little bit better? Something that we did with Adroit in the early days was thinking about the block release rather than the standard day release that a lot of providers, and we did too, was huge. And actually that brought on a lot more employers, which we hadn't thought about previously.
Okay, so if the government has an objective to build 1.5 million homes in their term, we're obviously well into that now, but what's your capacity? So you have currently around about 250 circa learners. What's the capacity of the college to increase that specifically on construction?
Well, I think we've got big ambitions. I think we've done a good job here in the last 4 years since opening in 2020, 5 years now. For us, I think, we're looking to double that number quite easily, really, in the next year to 2 years, 24 months. And it's there. I think whether we can get the SMEs to buy into that and whether the kind of pay structures and the financial implications are suitable for them, we've got the capabilities.
Yeah, and looking at specifics, so if you're looking to become a qualified, and that's a level 3 plumbing and heating standard, what sort of money do you think locally now that these learners who achieve their qualification can achieve on a weekly basis? Because I understand that that's getting more and more because the skills gap is widening in terms of not enough people there to do the job. So is the driver for these lads and these girls money, or is it other things?
I think initially as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, I think there is that initial bit about money, finances. I think in some of our areas like electrical and plumbing, I think the employers pay a little bit more of a premium than maybe some of the other trades. And that's because I think they're looking for, they're seeing it as a technical qualification, so they're trying to sort of encourage someone maybe a little bit more academic sometimes. But in terms of, ambition, I think learners also do really they're picking those types of trades. It's not just about money once they're involved in it. I think it's that ambition to go out potentially after their apprenticeship and become self-employed, run our own business, entrepreneurial. And obviously with technology changing so much now, there's so much more opportunities out there that are new to this generation. So I think obviously money for a 16, 17-year-old is going to be a key factor initially.
And just so people understand, so how is this facility funded?
So this facility is government funded. Initially there was the building itself was funded through Oxlep. The college then invested some of its own money into that to sort of top that up to sort of get to the sort of level that we've got to today, and we're continuing to sort of improve and increase our capacity to deliver more.
Yeah, so when we talk to many training providers around the country, one of the big things or the big challenges is to find enough tutors. This is people who will talk to the students and explain their experience against a set criteria. How do you find tutors?
I think it's very challenging. I don't think there's any, we're quite fortunate that we've got a number of lecturers in all our areas here, and we've had them for some time. I think financial is one key factor. I think people coming off the tools, there's quite a difference between someone coming off the tools earning sort of 50, 60 to 100k in some places to someone come and sort of get the kind of financial packages that colleges can offer. It just doesn't compete. I think it is sometimes a little bit more challenging for some areas where they've got to come in and suddenly become qualified. So doing the qualifications of a teacher, so doing a level 5 Cert Ed, is not always something that someone wants to do, in the later years of their working life.
Yeah, okay, so let's say I'm a young person, I'm at school, I'm thinking about my options for the future, and I'd like to become an apprentice. What advice can you give a young person thinking about coming into a trade position or a trade learning journey? Where should they start to get information? Which employers am I speaking to? How do I get someone to give me an opportunity? What would you advise them to do?
And I think that it's a challenging one. I think I get asked this question all the time. And I think for me, it's about just being confident in yourself and going out there and knocking on doors and not being afraid to sort of hear the word no. Because I think actually, and hearing the word no from the same person twice, 3 times, because actually I think it shows that you're really interested. It shows you're passionate. Popping down those merchants, popping in a little A5 CV, just being in the right. We know it's about being in the right place at the right time. It's catching that employer that's maybe having a real tough few weeks and realising that he has got a need for this and how I could be useful. So I think it's about not being worried about hearing the word no, because I think we've all had to hear that at some point, and just literally continuing on. On the back of that, if you're a student and you're coming into the world of employment, you've done your GCSEs, you've done your A-levels and you get grades. In our understanding, very few employers actually look at the minutiae of grades. They're very much interested in marking experience. So what advice could you give someone when they're thinking, do I go to university and do I do a further degree with other grades, or do I go and get experience? What advice would you give people thinking about the options of both? I think it's very much on an individual basis. I think when I'm talking to individuals, it's about understanding what they're passionate about. If you're passionate about practical things, if you're passionate about making something, doing something, then for me, it doesn't matter what grades you've got. We've got, in fact, I think within our property maintenance group that we've got with us today, I think there's one learner there that's got 7s in his GCSEs, and even we would look at that and go, is this the right pathway for you? But actually, it is for him, and it is for him right now. So for me, I think it's about what interests you, what gets you up in the morning, and where your passion lies.
Who do you think in today's market, now there is a skills gap, as we said, who is more employable? Somebody with an apprenticeship qualification with practical experience, or somebody that's been at university for 3 or 4 years?
I don't think there's any question in that. I think that it's simple, isn't it? It's going to be someone who's been on an apprenticeship, got that real life work experience, understands the pressure in front of customers, employers. You just can't, coming out, I'm not against university, but coming out of university, it's almost like starting again from scratch. You might have the knowledge, but practically, and it's a touch feel type, all these trades, So for me, all day it's an apprenticeship.
Mark French, thank you very much.
Thank you.